It is currently November 7th, 2021, and tomorrow it is 3 years since my house burnt down.
Dark. We're in a dark zone right now.
The only source of light is the fire.
So yeah, I think it is an abundance of caution.
And that's just really weird to say out loud. I mean, a lot of me feels like there's no way it's been 3 years.
It's not giving the camera any justice. You can't even tell, but it's literally bright orange. I'm packing and I have most of my favorite things. I can hear sirens.
But also I feel like I've changed so much since that happened, so it feels appropriate because I feel like a completely different person. Like when I watch videos of 14-year-old Alana going through this, it's just, I don't even recognize that human. I think the fire really aged me.
We left our house for potentially the last time. We're all packed up. I feel so sick. I can't breathe. I want to go home.
And I miss the stuff often, but it's honestly not the stuff that I'm grieving the most. I'm really grieving like feeling secure and safe in a home, feeling like your stuff is yours. I feel like my stuff can just be taken away any second. I really miss like the feeling of walking into your house and just feeling comfort. I'm just constantly on edge, and I already was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder before the fire happened, but it's just so much worse now because it feels like all of my irrational fears are now confirmed because it can happen. All of them can happen, and they might. I feel like your house burning down is the kind of thing that like you imagine happens to other people. Like you don't imagine it happening to yourself, but it can. It did to me. We are entering a very weird time of year for me because the sun is setting at 5 p.m., which is so upsetting, and my birthday's coming up. It's the anniversary of the fire, and it's just so weird. It's so weird. Probably my least favorite time of year because it just feels like I'm going back in time. I'm sort of feeling like a little kid again. I feel so vulnerable, and I'm kind of on the verge of tears all the time. Also, my family's going through a really rough time. A member of my family went to the hospital recently, and I came with them, and just it was traumatizing, honestly. I have to clean my room soon because my partner's coming over to like help me through this. And he wouldn't mind if my room was messy, but I want to clean it. It's just weird looking around and knowing that I have all this stuff that I've accumulated. I used to walk into stores and think I really genuinely need everything in this store. Like, I don't have any nail polish. I don't have a nice shirt. I don't have a nice dress. I don't have more than one pairs of shoes. That's not grammatically accurate. I don't have more than one pair of shoes. I don't have a toothbrush. I don't have shampoo. That's such a weird thing to experience, and I can't really describe it.
So for a few months I've been writing a whole book on my experience, and writing is really hard. I'm about 75 pages in, and I've only made it to November 9th, and the fire happened on November 8th. I think a lot, especially on the anniversaries, but just like in general about the people who didn't survive the fire. Basically, the fire happened in Paradise, California, and it was the most destructive and deadliest and fastest moving wildfire in California history. It was just the most perfect situation for a terrible, terrible fire. There were huge gusts of wind, crazy low humidity, and PG&E was warned that there was a really old power line that they had to replace, but they didn't replace it, and it started the spark, and the fire just exploded. I'm lucky that I even got the opportunity to visit my house and evacuate and get my stuff and get my cats. Most people didn't have that opportunity. Barely any people even got an evacuation warning on their phones. It was just really messed up because it moved so fast that people didn't really realize how bad it was. So the 911 responders were like, it's not a big deal, it's not in Paradise, and it already was in Paradise, but they didn't know because it happened so quickly. There was this opportunity to send out like a mass alert to everybody's phones, but they just didn't do it because they didn't think it was that bad. But it was. But every time I've tried to film a story time, it gets me overwhelmed. So if I ever publish my book, read that, you'll get an extensive story time. I don't know. And a lot of people did not survive. I think it was 88 people that did not survive. And I have survivor's guilt in a way. I don't understand why I lived and they didn't. Paradise had a large population of elderly people, a large population of disabled people, and a lot of people didn't have cars and didn't have a way out. I feel like I should be doing more. I feel like I should be doing better, considering my wonderful circumstances. I should be over this by now. It just really sucks, like, it's been 3 years and it still feels like brand new. Like, I don't know how to heal from something like this. They don't teach you that you know? They don't teach you how to heal from trauma in schools. I think the most stressful part was like not being able to find a house, putting offers on houses, falling in love with houses, and then one of our offers was accepted and then later it was denied because they had to keep their house because they had nowhere to go because there were no other houses in Chico to buy. Chico was the city outside of Paradise. And I have moved so many times in my life, I think like 12, 13, 14 times around that. Moving is always stressful, but when you're looking at other houses and you still have a house to go home to, it's just, it's okay, you know, there's no way to compare it. Looking at houses, dreaming of your life in this house, and then going home to a hotel. And we were lucky. I mean, we moved into our house December 19th. So, it really wasn't that long. But it felt like years. I don't know. Well, it's been 3 years. 3 years is a long time, and so it feels like I should be over it, but I'm not. I made myself get over it so quickly. I didn't even have the chance to mourn. I didn't let myself be sad because I was so focused on how lucky I was to still be alive, how privileged I was. I kept saying that over and over again. I'm so privileged, I'm so privileged, which is important, but I never gave myself the chance to mourn. It was weird because I had really bad mental health after we moved into our new house. I kept lashing out and I developed a phobia of tornadoes, and every time there was a single cloud in the sky, I would really freak out and genuinely have like a panic attack. And everyone said that it was about the fire, but if someone said that, I would lash out and get so mad because I was convinced it wasn't because of the fire. I wanted to think I was over it. I made myself be over it, but I wasn't. And I guess if you learn anything from this video, just let yourself feel your emotions so that you don't have to feel them later on, because they don't just go away, they just get hidden, and then later you're gonna have to feel them and it's gonna feel really delayed and kind of weird. I think one of the things that still comes up is that I'm so jealous of people who still have things from their childhood, who still have photos from their childhood, childhood notebooks, stuff like that. Like, they have the privilege of being embarrassed by them. Like, I'm so jealous of that. Or like having a childhood home to go home to, you know? Sucks. I'm very jealous of that, honestly. My partner's in class right now. When he gets back, I'm gonna read aloud the book that I've written so far, what I have so far. It's not a complete book yet. I'm gonna read it aloud to him and my sister and my mom, and I think it's gonna be pretty emotional. And tonight we're gonna watch the Netflix documentary about the fire. So yeah, that's how we're celebrating this holiday. Jealous? I lashed out at Lucas today, my partner, and I do that often, but it was just worse. I don't know. It sucked. Another thing that I said constantly after the fire was stuff is just stuff. But it's not. Especially when it's not all just stuff that you lost. We didn't think our house was gonna burn down, and we didn't have room for my bunny. Frick. I asked my dad what the chance was that our house would burn down, and he said 2.5%. So I figured we would be gone for a few days and we would come back to the bunny and he would be fine. So I gave him extra water, I gave him extra lettuce, I gave him extra food. I mean, we had to go really fast. It was a very quick decision I had to make. It was the right decision because we already had so many animals. Imagine showing up to a hotel being like, hey, we have a bunny, 4 cats, 2 dogs, and 6 humans. Can you take us? Then my dad talked to the first responders at the top of our road, and they said the fire was a 1/4 mile away, which meant it was rapidly approaching because it was the fastest moving wildfire in California history. So my buddy did not live very much longer after I said goodbye to him. And it's so weird because I was watching a Facebook Live that my dad made and I was talking about the bunny and I didn't even really grieve him. So now I'm just like really sad about it. And I have been for like a year.
I kept enforcing this I am so lucky mindset that I didn't let myself feel my emotions. And so now I'm feeling them. And yeah, let yourself feel your emotions. Okay, your emotions are valid. It's important to recognize that you're privileged, but not so much so that you don't let yourself feel your feelings, because that's not good for you. I miss him, my bunny, and I blame myself so much. I didn't let myself feel sad for his death, not only because I felt like I was so privileged, but also because I felt like it was completely 110% my fault that I killed him. I thought I killed my bunny, so I'm not allowed to be sad about him being dead if I killed him. But I didn't kill him. And it's not my fault. But I'm still struggling to forgive myself for that one. I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Subscribe if you want. You don't have to. Thank you for watching my therapy session. This was very therapeutic to make. I love you.